Welcome to Chronicles by Candlelight. Subscribing helps the channel grow and lets you stay updated with every new video so you never miss the content you enjoy. You are listening to Redemption Millionaire, Episode 2, 7 Years Before the Lie. I could hear the faint beeping of a monitor to my right, and as I opened my eyes, the ceiling came into focus. It was the pale white cement ceiling of a hospital. Grand Vale Hospital. My head was throbbing. The memory of rain on my windshield and rear lights popped into my head for only an instant. "Thank goodness you are awake," I heard a worried voice say. My blurry vision finally settled on Katie. She sat up in a chair beside the bed. "Katie," my voice came out rough. Immediately I saw something about her was off. Her face seemed softer, fuller, and her clothes draped awkwardly over her frame. The brown dress she wore reminded me of her maternity dress. The fabric even stretched over her stomach, and it curved outward in the same way. "You're pregnant." She stepped closer to the bed and reached for my arm. "Of course I'm pregnant, silly." I pulled my hand away. "Whose baby is that?" I asked. She froze. "What?" "The baby," I said. "Whose is it?" Her brows pulled together. "Ian, what are you talking about? It's yours." Pushing through the pain in my side, I sat up. "No, that's not my baby." There was a look of confusion on Katie's face. "Ian, my baby died," I cut in. "We lost it." "Actually," a short laugh escaped me. "You were never even pregnant, were you?" "Why are you talking like this?" Her face crumpled and tears filled her eyes. The door opened behind her before I could respond, and I turned my head as two more figures stepped into the room. Katie's mother, Eliza, was first. Eliza was a proud woman. It was in her walk, the peacock-like manner she carried her head, and the way she spoke, slow and certain. The older she got, the better she got at her performance. The Eliza that came into the hospital room was younger. Her hair still had its strawberry blonde vigor, the lines on her face were softer, and her performance was not yet perfect. Dr. Gabriel Voss followed behind her, and he looked different too. His hair fuller, his gut smaller, and the heavy weariness I'd seen earlier was gone. "Mr. Summerhold, where do you think you're going?" he asked. "Something is wrong," Katie said, as tears ran down her cheeks. "He woke up and started accusing me. He said our baby never existed." "That's ridiculous," Eliza said, running to Katie's side. "She's very pregnant, dear." "She is," Dr. Voss added. "And you've just been through an accident." He stepped closer and pulled a small light from his coat and shined it into my eyes. "You may have a concussion. Stay still." "No," I pushed his hand away. "You're all in this together. What sort of joke is this?" The room went quiet, as the three of them, Katie, Eliza, and the doctor, shared a quick glance. Dr. Voss let out a small, awkward laugh. "I assure you," he said, "your wife is very pregnant. Listen, Ian, you need to calm down." "Let go of me." I struggled against the bed again, threatening to pull the IV line. "I need to get out of here." "Ian, stop." Katie reached for me this time, and the sight of her baby bump only stirred more mixed emotions in me. "How can I?" I asked. "You weren't pregnant yesterday, and you look..." "What day is it?" "The 5th of February, Dr. Voss answered. I stared at him. "5th, I repeated. "February." "It's been a day since the accident," he said carefully. "A day? No, that's not right." "It is true," Eliza said. "What year?" I asked. They looked at each other again, this time with a look of estrangement I couldn't recognize. 2019, Katie said. I stared at them. "No, it is 2026. They looked at me like I was the one that had lost his mind. "Oh my God!" Katie cried. "This is serious," Dr. Voss said. "I'll have to prep you for a cognitive exam." What was going on? I found out she cheated. I found out she lied. Then I crashed the car. And now, my chest tightened as realization dawned on me. I was dead. I had to be. I pinched myself to see if it hurt. It had. I had tried to slap myself, but Dr. Voss stopped me. He shined the light in my eyes again. "If it is a concussion, there are no other signs." "Well, it has to be," Katie said. "He's talking nonsense." I wasn't concussed, I knew that much. It was either I was dead, or I had somehow gone back in time. I took off the cover. "I need to leave," I said. "You can't," Katie cried. "Why not?" I pointed at Dr. Voss. "You said it yourself, there were no signs of a concussion." "Yes, but I'm telling you, I'm good to go." Dr. Voss stepped back from the bed, gave a small nod, and he slid the pen back into his coat. "You can go home," he said. "Take it easy and avoid anything strenuous for a few days." He turned to Katie. "Monitor him. If anything else happens, ring me immediately." Katie let out a breath beside me. "Thank you, Dr. Voss," she said. "I'll stay behind for a quick checkup." Eliza glanced at Dr. Voss, "just to be safe." "Of course," Voss said. Something about the glances exchanged sat wrong with me. But I put it all at the back of my mind. For now, the only thing that mattered was navigating through this new world I was in. I was happy to be out of the sterile halls and into the parking lot. The first breeze broke away the feeling of being confined, and I slowly began to acclimatize with the second. There was a billboard overhead, visible from the parking lot, with a suited man peering into oncoming traffic. The billboard had a client's compensation value as the header, a tactic Casamassima law firm infamously utilized on all their adverts until 2020 when they went bankrupt. It really was 2019. Katie looked at me and said, "The car is just parked ahead." I was already on my way when out of the corner of my eye, I saw familiar dark hair pulled up in a tight bun and pencil skirt. It was Victoria Prescott. She made her way from the far end of the lot to the hospital doors. She could have been birthed just yesterday. That was how young she looked. "Give me a minute," I said to Katie. "You bring the car around." She frowned. "Ian." "I'll be right there," I added, and pulled away before she could say anything else. Victoria Prescott's head was buried in her phone when I got to her. It was like she didn't need to look up to navigate her way. She just knew. She always knew. "Victoria Prescott?" I asked. She looked up from her phone briefly. "Yes," she said. "Do I know you?" "Yes, well, technically not yet," I replied. "Is this some sort of pickup tactic?" "I'm sorry, I don't have any time." No, I said, "it's just, I've heard of you." She looked back up at me, and her brows lifted a fraction. "You have?" "UC Berkeley," I said. "Top of your class. People talk, you know." A faint blush crept up her cheeks. "That's flattering. Are you sure you don't have me mixed up with someone else? I mean, who is talking about me?" In all my years of knowing Victoria, one thing was certain: she was the worker bee. But someone else was always the queen. On some level, all she wanted was to be noticed. "I don't," I smiled. "I heard about a really good law student coming out of there. Are you not?" She looked down for a second, then back at me. "Well," she said, "thank you." I studied her for a moment. Another thing I knew was that Victoria Prescott was nothing if not unorthodox. At Sandy Hill Legal, she existed in that sweet spot between completely invisible and striking. This allowed her to get things done without ruffling any feathers. If there came a time I needed to talk to someone I could trust, someone that wouldn't completely laugh in my face, she was the woman for me. "I know this is sudden," I said, "but can I get your number?" I tried not to reveal the thoughts behind my eyes as she searched them. "Sure," she said after careful consideration. I searched my pockets for my phone, not knowing what to expect, and luckily found it. After we exchanged contacts, Victoria sounded out my name, probably hoping to draw up any sort of recognition. For a moment I held hope that she might remember me, the future me. "Well, it is nice to meet you, Ian," she said finally. "Likewise," I replied. Right at that moment, a car door shut behind me and Katie walked over to us. "Ian," she said, as her eyes moved from me to Victoria. "Who is she?" I slipped my phone back into my pocket. "She helped me right after the accident," I said. Katie's turned to Victoria. "Thank you," she said. "Really?" I noticed her frown as she noticed Katie's baby bump. Then she gave a small, polite smile. "I have to go," she said, and walked off before either of us could say anything else. Katie slipped her arm around mine and said, "Come on, let's get you home." On our way, I turned the dial of my father's Rolex. My time at Sandy Hill Legal, at the mailroom, and thoughts of the 7 years I spent married to Katie Rolodexed in my mind. Everything had reset, I thought. And if it was true that this wasn't purgatory or hell, but in fact the past, then it begged a question. What role was I going to play in this new world? Our home was tucked deep in the heart of Silicon Valley. It carried a quiet charm that filled me with pride. It didn't have a lawn stretched out front, like those homes in the sticks, and the exterior was a pale white that was boring. But I had used money from my trust my grandparents left me for a down payment, and I had taken great pride in that decision. Doing so had driven a wedge between my father and I, as he didn't approve of abandoning my future for a life with Katie. But I was okay with it because I stepped up. I proved to Katie and her mother that I was ready to build something real with them, and they loved me for it. Well, on the surface at least. Looking at the house now filled me with stomach-turning disgust. "Need help inside?" Katie asked as she turned off the engine. "I'm all right." I got out of the car and walked to the door, although gingerly. As I crossed the threshold, my eyes picked up a certain virginity to the space. The floors were shinier than ever. The walls stood bare in places where furniture should have been. There were a lot of empty spaces there, that was for sure. You should rest, Katie said. You've been through a lot. I'm fine. Just need to loosen up, I replied as I walked down the hallway. As I looked over everything, the quiet stretched out and my thoughts pressed in. My family had warned me. They had questions about Katie and her family, but most of all, they were concerned that I was moving too fast. A bitter edge crept into my mouth. I gave up my family for her. For a lie, for a woman who... I exhaled. There was a stubborn part of me that refused to accept it outright. It clung to the idea that something didn't add up, that there had to be more to it. Was there enough for me to end our marriage? To abandon her? I stopped near the end of the hallway and turned to look at our wedding picture hanging on the wall. I needed proof. I needed to know exactly what Katie had done, and I needed to catch it in a way that couldn't be denied. It would take patience, especially after the hospital. Katie and Dr. Voss would definitely try to hide things better now that I know. There was also something I needed to do. If I wanted a future without Katie, one that I deserved, then I needed to secure it now, before anything else fell apart, like it did before. I wouldn't make the same mistakes again. Subscribe for new episodes. See you next time.